With me is the chair of Isle of Pride, Clare Barber. Yes, here for another interview, but I thought let's find out what's going on, because literally I think it dropped today or yesterday, the news that the date will be not the same time of the year as the first one, which I think was interesting, because I thought you were going to try and keep it to around about the TT time. No?
Yeah, so originally our plan had been to hold Pride at the end of TT on the Saturday straight after Senior Race Day. What has happened is that unfortunately, the government, have decided that next year in 2023, Senior Race Day actually will extend for the Saturday. Oh. So it means that it throws us out. And what we didn't want to do was to just get into our stride year 2, and then year 3, we're changing things up. So we decided bite the bullet early. So we've moved it to the 13th of August.
I remember the whole thing was that you had the infrastructure in place because you had everything laid on. Has that been a major headache then to do this?
It certainly makes things a little bit trickier, although I think we proved last year, we had no choice. We proceeded with Pride and we put the infrastructure up ourselves, that we were able to do that. So I think that gave us a little confidence boost that we may not have had if we'd have started this way. So we decided to say 13th of August that we will proceed with Pride 2022.
Same places, same sort of event, or changing?
Yeah, so we're looking at some things. I mean, we had some feedback last year, certainly around security. We had a really unfortunate incident with some bags being taken at the end of the evening, so we're looking at some options we might have around increased CCTV. We're also looking at other things that we can improve, like the waste management, recycling. There was things that I looked at and I thought, we can do that better. So I think we're always striving to make things better, look at some other partner events that we can do in the weeks around the main date. But ultimately, it will be very similar in terms of a location, hopefully with a full parade. The prom's looking slightly nearer where we need it.
I forgot about that, because last time it was
I'm going to say it's perfect,
tricky,
but Tim Crookles, he's getting us there.
Well, it is the middle of the year, so let's hope the best on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, visitors might come on this one as well. I suppose you react and interact with the Channel Islands quite a bit, don't you? So plans there to get the big flag over again on that?
Absolutely. No, I had a really brilliant catch up actually with counterparts in Jersey and Guernsey just recently, talking about how we can almost share knowledge and opportunity between the Channel Islands and Isle of Man. I think we've got real opportunity to learn from each other, to grow, and certainly the flag's a bonus. I think it was visually just so striking having that coming through the streets of Douglas, but hopefully rather than Strand Street it will be the promenade this year, and it won't be too windy, otherwise we might take off.
This all takes money to put on. How do you looking for sponsors or whatever for this?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the sponsors we had last year are wanting to get on board again, and we've got some new faces who are also keen. If anyone wants to sponsor the event or part of the event, we do have a booklet with information available that we can distribute. So if anyone wants to get in touch, they can email info@isleofpride.im, and we'd be more than happy to send that across and then open discussions. But there's lots of opportunities, so don't feel like if you can't come along with lots of money, there's nothing you can do. Everything really counts and everything can make a difference, and not just with the Pride itself, but with the year-round work as well. We realised the other day we've been so busy doing stuff we probably hadn't actually spoken about it very much. So we've had members of the committee who've been involved working with Manx Care, looking at how we can improve services. Excuse me. Also looking in terms of giving feedback around the election and accessibility for LGBTQ+ community members. We've done training up at the nursing college for new nurses, and we've got more training in place. We were present at a number of different festivals just talking about gender identity, sexuality, as well as lobbying in some areas and working. We've had the petition that's coming through from Brinther and Owen that they've put together in their role as bards about non-binary and making the changes that are needed to the Equality Act to recognise that. So lots of other stuff, I suppose, going on. And when we started making a list, I was like, oh, okay, and I've forgotten about that. But there's all this stuff. It can't just be one day of Pride.
And was there any success stories that you heard of, people who came out that day or did something special that helped them on their journey?
Yeah, we've certainly come across people who did come out either fully or to certain people that were very important to them, but also a number of people who came up and spoke to us at Pride or came and talked to us afterwards and said how it was the first time they'd been able to really just be themselves without any question. It gave them a confidence that they perhaps hadn't had before. I think that's for me a really important part of this. There is a celebration. We can't forget where this came from. So last year was 30 years since Alan Shea protested on Tynwald Hill, which obviously a really significant piece of our Manx history. And this year will be 30 years since the legislative change. And then we also then have the piece around pardons and disregards, which Jane Paul Wilson's bringing through in her role as Home Affairs and Justice Minister.
Yeah, I'm still trying to track her down for the interview on that one because I don't know. Well, I'm seeing it this week, hopefully. But is there a sticking point? I mean, that you know of on the whole thing?
No, not that I'm aware of. I know there's a piece of work. I know that Jane is meticulous in what she does, so she'll want to get it right.
See you on Thursday.
Yeah, but I think with everything, we know the direction of travel has been clearly stated now by both House of Keys and Legislative Council through the Sex Offences Bill now enacted, but looking at how we make sure that those pieces of that jigsaw are done with the most effect and the minimum impact in terms of we don't want to cause any detriment. There were some really horrendous things, I believe, that happened in terms of how people were treated, and it's absolutely right that we address that.
I mean, Alan Shea's, we interviewed him here recently, and he still very wants this police apology. He's not going to get it from the chief, though. Not this one, anyway, because we've asked and it's not happening. You disappointed with that, or do you think it should just be let sleeping dogs lie? Or what? Have you got an opinion about it?
I think Alan makes an important point, actually, because it's not... When I've talked to people who were here at that time and who either lost friends, it wasn't about the law being enforced in and of itself. It was about how the law was enforced and how the behaviours of the police generally, and it wasn't just the police either. I think it's fair to say that there were societal behaviours that were seen, and we see that in the Rights of Man
sort of mentality, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think unfortunately there was a feeling that had been perpetuated by the laws of the land, that people who were LGBTQ plus were somehow less relevant in terms of society. Now I think that's something that we've really got past. I'm not saying everyone's where they perhaps, in my opinion, should be, but it's really important that we keep moving forward in terms of understanding and progressing. And I would say now we have an issue very clearly as well around supporting people in the trans community. It's a community that remains marginalised. It's a community that still we're struggling with some of the access to healthcare. But having talked with Laurie Hooper, there's a real keenness to look at how we can address that. I think that's really important. And certainly Teresa Cope in her role in Manx Care came along to Pride. I had a talk with her there. Some of her colleagues from Manx Care were at Pride as well. They've already reached out, really keen to be involved this year, and have also requested that we have a trans liaison as part of the team that they have within Nobles Hospital to ensure that services are meeting the needs of the trans community. So I'm not pretending again that we're where we need to be, but I can certainly see that the people who need to be on that journey are very clearly on it.
Okay, two quick things. Is it going to stay on that date now, roughly? Anyway, August, that we think it's going to be?
30th of August. No, not roughly.
No, I mean, each year, roughly.
Oh, okay, we're going to wait. We'll aim to keep it around that time each year. But this year, definitely, 30th of August.
Yes, I wasn't meaning this year, obviously. That's very odd. And secondly, do you need more committee members still, or you wanted more people to help you, or whatever? I can't remember what we did last time. You were looking for people last time.
So we have had some new people join the committee recently, but equally, if there's someone out there who thinks, actually, I've got just the skill set that's needed, either for the year-round work or for delivering Pride, please do reach out to us, because I don't want this to feel like it's a closed shop and no one else is welcome, and that's not the case at all. We've got a really brilliant committee with some real diversity of opinion on there, which I think is good. I think it's healthy to have that conversation, and equally though, there may well be people out there who are thinking, actually, this is right up my street. And I'd say again, info@isleofpride.im. Love to hear from you, even if you can just want to help out actually on the day. We're delighted to hear from anyone.